My name is Carlos Walker, and this is Art and Hustle, Black Authors Matter, Season 2, and this is Mrs. Terry Riley. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
It is an honor. So, if you will, share with the people who you are and what you do.
Sure. I am a certified image consultant and personal stylist, also an author and a speaker. I I help women embrace their beauty. Growing up, I was bullied and teased. Growing up, told I was ugly because of my dark complexion. Believed it for lots of years. But I used fashion. Fashion was my outlet. When I got dressed and spent time just putting outfits together, it just increased my confidence. And now I empower other women to use fashion as a tool to help them step into not only their purpose but their power and with more confidence.
Mm. So, being that we've gotten that out of the way, if you will, share with me what made you decide to write a book.
I actually didn't decide to write a book. It just kind of happened. What I say is it was part of God's plan. Also the speaking, I did not set out to speak. I did not set out to write the book. During the pandemic is when that story of being bullied came back to me. When we were shut down, not knowing what was going to happen, asking the big questions, why am I here? And that's when I heard the Lord just speak to me and bring to my remembrance, because it was, 30, 40 years ago, about being bullied and to start to share that story. And because we were on lockdown and everything was on virtual on Zoom, I was in a women's group and I shared it for the very first time. And I tell you, I had no idea that the pain was still there. When I
Mm.
started sharing the story, the tears, I could just feel it again. It was it was a moment. But I'm so glad that I shared the story because there were so many other women that were on that call that weren't bullied for the reasons that I was bullied, but for other reasons. And they too were able to just release some things because they too had been holding on to a lot of hurt and a lot of pain. And I had no idea that that would even happen because I hadn't shared that story with anyone except for my husband. I
Mhm.
never shared it. I just never talked about it.
There's a Bible verse that comes to my mind, one of my favorites. It's Revelations 12 and 11. And they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. And from what I'm hearing is he used your testimony to free others or to help them overcome because you overcame. But it was only when you was able to step out and release that your story could even help somebody. But go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. I love that scripture, and really what I think, we all have a story. And that's
Mhm.
what I've been hearing as I start to share my story more and more, is that we all have a story. And what has happened to us wasn't
Wasn't for you. It was for somebody else to empower.
it was for someone else. And we always want to think that this is happening to us. It's happening for us. It's happening
Mhm.
for you. One, I believe, to have a greater relationship with God. Because when things happen to you, you think there's no other way or you can't make it through, but it's happening for you to be able to depend on the one. If you can't do it yourself or you don't see the way, there is a way.
Mhm.
And that helps you to see that there's a way. And that's for you to grow, to develop a closer relationship, and also to help someone else. Because at the end
Mhm.
of the day, it is not about us. It's for us to help someone else.
You have a bigger purpose here, and most of the things that you endure, I'm gonna say all of the things that you endure, not most, is shaping you to be the best version of you, no matter how tragic it may seem or feel. Another verse that comes to my mind is Jeremiah 29:11. I know the plans I have towards you, declares the Lord, not to harm you, but to prosper you and give you an expected end. All of the stuff that feels like harm, may seem like harm, is for prosperity and an expected end when you learn to release and let go and let God. So, if you will, share what your book is about.
I'm in a actually this is my third anthology, but the one that I just did is it's called Women on the Wall. And it we didn't start out to write a book. We are on a prayer call that I joined last January. So it's been a little bit over a year where we get up every Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. and we pray and we share stories and that's how it started. We were sharing our testimonies. Every woman had a testimony and we didn't realize the power in sharing your testimony. And instead of keeping it on that Zoom call, we're on Zoom, just amongst ourselves, we decided to start to share our story to help other women. And that's how the book came about. It's just to be able to again help someone else with our testimony.
So basically, it's a book of testimonies shared by a group of women who wanted to empower other women or other people. I ain't even gonna just say women because this book here, I'm pretty sure, and I was gonna say, because a thought came to my mind. I don't know if y'all have ever decided to pair with men and share those stories. So in the end, what happens? The power
Mhm.
between the two, it broadens.
Yeah.
The men can share their stories, the women can share their stories, and what happened is we learn how to commune not just with our group, but with
Hmm.
our group because we are a whole. What is it? Yin yang. You got to have both parties in order to make one community, and this strengthens everything. But
Hmm.
back to your first two anthologies, what were they about?
The first one actually came through in 2021 during the pandemic, and it's called Women Who Boss Up.
Mm,
Moms Who Boss Up, post pandemic. So it was in 2021. And that story was one where, again, during the pandemic, I learned to spend time with God. I mean, I was growing up in the church. I went to church all my life, but honestly, didn't have that relationship. You can know about God, but to know God for myself, of course, my grandmother and my mother. But now I know God for myself because I spent time with God, just being quiet because it takes being quiet, sitting still and listening. You can hear more when you're quiet. You know, when you're running around before the pandemic, I'm running around nonstop doing so much, doing. And I finally got to just stop and just be and be with God. And so I did that book. And then I had a medical scare in actually last year, 2024. And that book I'm in a couple of different organizations, and I just received an email about eat fear for breakfast. Do you have a testimony? And I had just gone through a medical scare, and I just knew God said share that story because He brought me out. You know,
mm,
you can't take anything for granted. You know, you just can't. I just had a regular routine screening test, and the results came back abnormal. You have these routine tests and it's always like, okay, you go have them done. And I'm like, oh, and I remember, okay, see you next year. No, it wasn't see you next year this time. It
mm.
was, it's abnormal. So you have to come back. And that in that moment, you know that when this is the time, this is when your faith get tested, then you know that God's gonna bring you through. And I'm so glad that I was able to lean on God because without him, I would not have made it through. I
Mm.
would not have. And so when I got the invitation to share your testimony for Eat Fair for Breakfast, that story came up because it was abnormal. I had to go through I had a surgery and some other things, but just had my follow up and normal.
All
It
glory
was
be to
all
God.
God. God gets all the glory. And so, yeah, it's just how he lines up, how things line up. You just can't say how your life is going to be. You have to, like you said before, you have to surrender and let go and let God because He will more than you can ask or think.
We're technically nothing but babies, just walking around thinking that we are adults and not knowing that. you're still a child. You're still growing and learning to trust the parent or the father, uh, the being, because it is to me not just masculine. It is masculine and feminine all in one, same way we are, because we are created in their likeness. And what happens is that being is also making sure that we are protected from things we don't know, things that we do know, things that we can't do nothing about, and you just got to trust the process. And that is what these anthologies or these testimonies are just a basis of people who have learned to trust. To me,
Mhm.
faith and trust are one and the same.
Yeah.
And when you learn to trust, what happens is you can say, you know what, this isn't my life. My life is your purpose, and I get to take care of your purpose here in this life and share it with others. So, one, I want to thank you for writing the material that you are writing. I do this because it's Black History Month. Number
Mhm.
one, and our ancestors at one point in this country was told not to read nor write, and here we are in the, what is this? Is this 21st century, 22nd century, one or two? But here we
Mhm.
are able to read, write, and doing it at a higher level than most are
Mhm.
doing it, because guess what? We are we was told not to do it,
Mhm.
and because we have the ability to do it, we're doing it a lot different. Not saying that no other community ain't doing, but for our community, it's special because when you're told you can't do something and you decide to start doing it, it changes lives.
It does. You've said so much that I totally can resonate with. One, like you said, um, we were told not to, that we couldn't, because I know my grandmother had a, I believe it was like a sixth grade education. And now to be able, for me to be able to be part of these books is nothing short of, she would say, a miracle. You know, if she could see that, she would think it's a miracle, because they were held back for so long. And we all have so much in us, but we have to, like you said, as children, we have to learn how to trust. We have so much in us to share. We're all created in his image. And when we learn to let go of that control, how we think it should be, we don't know. We really don't know. His, his thoughts, his plans are much, much higher than ours, but we think we know. And you got to let go of that control and trust.
And know that you're given a power here that you don't even know that you have. But you have to also tap into that source, because that
Mhm.
is also where your power comes from. And this is where the reason why we are able to do the things that we're able to do. Uh, Before I go, there's a few different things I need you to do.
Okay.
One, I want you to share a word of wisdom. Let me back up. I want you to, because I'm pretty sure you got more books in you, or you're probably writing something now. What keeps you inspired? That'd be number one. Number two, I need a word of wisdom for somebody who is just starting, don't know where to start, maybe coming into starting. And last, I need you to tell the people where they can purchase the books, how they can maybe get a signed copy, all of the good stuff.
Okay. What inspires me? Um, oh, wow. What inspires me is to know that after all I've gone through, that God can use me. That's what inspires me. Because when I was younger, just didn't think I was worthy or I was good enough. But to know that I not only am worthy, I'm good enough, that I'm unique. There's only one of me. And I want to inspire someone else to understand their value, that they're created in the image of God, and they're worthy, worthy of
Or according
all.
to the Bible, it says wonderfully and marvelously made.
Absolutely. That inspires me that I can be used by God and that He allows me to be able to get to the point where I'm able to share what He's done for me because that wasn't always easy to do. But now that inspires me to be able to inspire someone else.
Mhm.
Um, and what was the other question? I'm sorry.
Give a word of wisdom.
Word of wisdom. Be you. Be unique. Don't compare yourself to someone else. Understand that you are unique. There's only one. Don't compare yourself because I remember I don't know if it's a saying or something, but comparison is the thief of joy or something like that. Don't lose your joy because you see someone else doing something. Be you because you have a gift in you. I don't care who you are or what you've been told. And don't let someone else's words, someone else's opinions of you define you. Your words define you. You say who you are and understand who you are. That's my word of wisdom.
And then last, share with them where they can actually purchase your books.
Reach out to me for a signed copy. I'm on Instagram at Stylishly Terry. Also, you can reach me on Facebook uh, at Stylishly Terry as well. And I did create a website because the title of my book is From Bully to Beautiful. And so I
Mhm.
have a website, bullytobeautiful.com as well. But reaching out to me on Instagram would be the best. And I'll be able to get right back to you at Stylishly Terry at Instagram.
And is it on Amazon or anywhere just in case?
It is on Amazon, Women on the Wall, but it'll ship from there, but it isn't signed or autographed. And I
You
don't really
prefer,
get any information regarding that.
okay, you
Yeah,
prefer reach out to you, get your sign.
correct.
Well, Miss
Absolutely.
Terry, I do appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate you speaking life into others because that is also what we are called to do, uh, is empower. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for writing because
Thank
everybody has a book in them. Everybody will not write a book. But for those who do, I applaud, I appreciate, and I just want to say I thank God that He give the words to be able to put stuff together. So with that, thank you. And my name is Carlos Walker. This is Art and Hustle, Black Authors Matter, and this is Miss Terry Riley. Blessings.
thank you.